It was little more than a year ago that Florence County Sheriff's Deputy Joey Rogers was killed in the line of duty. On Friday, Deputy Rogers was honored in Washington. TV 13's Jay Nix has this exclusive story from our nation's capital.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's
They gather to remember the men and women who gave their lives for their community and country.
We honor the law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice and have given their lives so that we may live in safety, so that our families may enjoy safety.
The words of Vice President Al Gore comfort those left behind. They are the survivors who are still trying to understand why.
Joseph Clyde Rogers.
Deputy Joey Rogers' family is escorted to pin a rose on a wreath honoring Rogers and others who've paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Said he was a very dedicated law enforcement officer, and we were very proud of him, and he would be honored to be honored this way.
Memories may fade, but a permanent tribute to the officers can be found here at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. Here, Deputy Rogers' name has been etched in marble, joining more than 13,000 others who gave their lives so that others might live. In Washington, Jay Nix, TV 13 News.
Hello, this is where we're going. Not where we're staying, but I'm taking you out here. This is a place called Montauk.
Where's the baby?
And it,
Hi, Peter
there's
and Anna.
Darby, on my brother's wedding day. And this house was Jackie Kennedy's summer home after her husband was killed. Look at that cliff. That's Buell. That's where we're going. I wish we were staying there. The place we're staying is not near as nice, but it's still pretty. And let's see here. That's Darby's sister-in-law, Anna. And I'm just going to sit here and ramble while this footage is on.
668-2702.
That's the Memory Motel. That's where they're staying. His name is Doug.
I used to lay out down there at the bottom of that cliff when Darby and I went up there. There's Darby trying to act like Princess Diana with her little pose and her poise. And somebody singing who doesn't need to be singing at Darby's brother's wedding. And this is the lady on the right. Listen.
Oh, this is so Eleanor, get out of
We're getting great pictures. What an opportunity. This is fantastic.
What an opportunity. That woman on the right, the woman who you just saw, I got drunk with the whole time. Look at the rainbow in that Buell. And let's see what else.
Central.
That's where Darby puked all night. And there she is.
Try to look right here. Oh, you look like shit. You really do look bad.
Nice cup shot. She probably threw up in that too. Now here's where I need your help. I need to know if I need to, on the set, have longer hair or shorter hair. This is the longer hair. And get Cecily to tell you what she thinks too. That's longer. And then this is after I've had it all cut off right there, before the board came up. Now just zip it and watch this, all right? Just do it.
And 5. Hi, America. I'm Sandy Patty, and whether I'm at home in Indiana with my 8 kids or traveling across the country, I always start my day with Katie, Matt, Al, and Ann. What a difference today makes! Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore Thee. God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts and
Those are Sandy's children, and this is Dorothy's Day Show.
Here we go now.
And hopefully they'll air it as a Good Morning Box.
Drive the dark cloud away, driving away, giver of in the heart of gladness. Fill us with the light of day.
This next one is for CBS This Morning. I know they're going to air it.
Okay, we still rolling? Okay. Hi, America. I'm Sandy Patty. Whether I'm at home in Indiana with my 8 kids or traveling across the country, I always start my day with Mark, Jane, and Craig. There's more to this morning. Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore Thee. God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before testing, testing.
I don't know why I just thought this would make you laugh. How's that feel? You like it? Take a look at it real quick.
I have like 10 layers
Let
of
me
this
just look
on
at
here.
Here's a little Spanish for Cecily.
14. 10.
Yeah, that's good. That looks real good.
Okay. All right, quick before the sweat comes back.
All right. It'll take 3 minutes.
Senor.
Mr. Piano Tuner,
Oops.
Uh-oh.
can you give us 10 minutes?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Open up the shirt. Show them the whole thing.
Ratings.
Sorry.
Rosie. Rosie, can you hear me? I think you are the greatest. I'd like to be on your show. We've got a lot in common. We both adopted children. Call me and let's talk.
This is for Cecilita.
All right, we need to do something a little bit different. I just did a Spanish record, so we'll do a little in Spanish. Vamos todos a cantar, porque todo es mejor en las alas del amor. Juntos para celebrar, porque todo es mejor en las alas del amor. Vamos todos a cantar, porque todo es mejor. Where I simply forget, pues tú libertad me das y voy por campos de felicidad y sin mirar atrás, tu libertad me das, me has perdonado deudas que jamás podré pagar. So much. Hey, let me tell you about this guy. Come here. Tell me your name again. Mike?
Hanky Mike.
No, look. This is how Luck has it. He gets front row tickets.
Is that his wife?
Yes. One of them. I bet you're rooting for the Jazz then, right? No, just kidding. Okay. Think about it. Think about it. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, I forgot I was in a public place. Okay, anyway, listen. He gets free tickets from his wife for his birthday, front row seats, okay? Then he wins a radio contest and gets 2 more free tickets. And they're sitting over there. Those are his friends. And they got popcorn.
Public universities in Mississippi. Portraits in black. Portraits in white. Mississippi became known as the bastion of public college segregation in 1962 when the governor of the state tried to bar James Meredith from enrolling at Ole Miss.
I, Ross R. Barnett, deny you admission to the University of Mississippi.
It took U.S. Marshals and the National Guard to force his admission. But 30 years later, Mississippi's historically white-only colleges are still more than 80% white. Historically black-only schools like Jackson State University are more than 95% black. Now the U.S. Supreme Court must decide whether the state is responsible for the racial disparity.
And this case has become even more complicated because it's caught up in a major struggle over the very definition of desegregation.
Mississippi claims it has fully desegregated because any qualified student can choose to go to any school.
But by and large, the traditional choices of young people in our state have sent them in the direction of historically white and/or historically black institutions.
In fact, these students acknowledge they could have attended any state school, but chose Jackson State because they want to be at a majority black university.
It's being with positive people that all have one main focus and one main goal, you know, to make us aware of our own heritage.
Blacks argue that equality in this case is not how many whites and blacks go to college together, but whether they are getting the same opportunities, and that means money.
The issue was primarily black and white, and in a sense you can say today it's an issue of green. There is not equal funding.
They say black schools have inferior buildings, libraries, and labs, and they claim Mississippi will not achieve desegregation unless black universities get funding to make up for years of past discrimination.
What we're talking about here really sounds very much like separate but equal.
Sure it does. What's wrong with that?
How does one counter the argument that black citizens in the Ayers case are arguing for segregation, which is both unconstitutional and a move backwards?
Ayers versus Mavis simply says that there are historically black colleges and universities all across this country. There are 3 in Mississippi. They have a right to be fully funded. They have a right to be quality institutions.
And after lobbying by black educators, President Bush overruled his own Justice Department to side with the blacks in the case, to the dismay of Mississippi.
We're going to a lot of trouble in this state to be sure that all of our institutions are funded as well as we can possibly fund them with terribly limited resources. I'm aghast at any consideration of possibly changing that whole approach to funding.
And Ole Miss students worry their school will end up losing funds.
So I don't think it's fair to give them money just because they're a struggling black university. You know, I think that's not fair to base it on racial barriers or lines.
But blacks say black colleges deserve special treatment.
This is a place where you get something instilled in you, racial pride.
Class.
And if the Supreme Court agrees, the notion of separate but equal, once banished as a slogan of racism, could return as a symbol of justice. Rita Braver, CBS News, Jackson, Mississippi.
Well, it will be November.
Andy Griffith says hi. Should I put this this next story on my resume tape, the one that's coming up? Let me know.
Huge.
A child's front yard, a paradise where fantasy comes to life, especially for 6-year-old Kyle Kingery and his 3-year-old little sister, Kelsey. This ditch is one of their favorite spots in their make-believe world, but when a month of torrential rains turned their playland into a raging river, this once calm place where dreams are made turned into a living nightmare. The same ditch where Kyle carries Kelsey over every day almost carried her young life away.
When she fell in and she was just screaming a lot and she went under the water, it was over her head.
Their playground turned into a death trap in the blink of an eye.
We started to ride our bikes and then I wanted to go over there and then Kelsey slipped in the water and then I jumped in and got her. I was drowned.
You almost drowned? How'd that happen?
And my mama said, Kyle saved me.
Kyle saved you?
This ditch might not seem too deep right now, but when all of the rain fell, the water was all the way above the trampoline right there. So you can imagine just how deep this area was to a little 3-year-old.
Was it really far above her head? How far?
About that far.
So what would have happened if you didn't jump in? Can she swim?
Yeah.
So what would have happened?
She would have drowned and died. She'd just be laying in the ditch.
But you saved her, right? How does that make you feel?
Good.
Every night before we go to bed, I tell Kyle that my prayer is of thanksgiving, that we're all safe and together, and then I pray for the next day. And so when he got her out of the water that day, after we calmed down, and he said, "Mom, aren't you glad you said your blessings last night?" And so he said the angels helped him save, God sent an angel to help him save Kelsey that day. I'm proud of him.